welcome to OverAnalysis, the show that makes you think. This week we're arguing about Nintendo. I'm your host, Bryan Nissen. With me today is Fahim Kabir.
I'm our local fighting game expert.
James Provinciali.
I like Nintendo a lot.
And Louis Arcilla.
I'm your local Asian man.
I'm local too.
All right, so I'm glad we're off to a very creative start. So, Nintendo, company we all love from our childhood, has been in a little bit of trouble recently. Coming off a very successful last console, the Wii obviously, Nintendo came into this generation with a misguided sense of direction. Recently, a couple weeks ago, they cut their sales forecast for both the Wii U and the 3DS. The Wii U went from 9 million to 2.8 million, while 3DS went from 18 million to 13.5 million. Now, these are for their fiscal year, so I believe that's March to March. So, what do you think this means for Nintendo?
First off, well, you just mentioned briefly the Wii U sales, right? But the 3DS has been thriving lately. Not just on the hardware front, but also on the software front. I mean, I'm pretty sure the latest Zelda game has sold very well.
Yeah, but the counter argument I would bring up to that is, at this point in its life cycle, the DS has sold twice as much.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Wow.
Almost. I don't have exact numbers, but it's almost.
Well, 3DS has had a hard beginning, hasn't it? And DS has always been like a decent seller.
Yeah, 3DS did have, right now I think we all own 3DSs. And
I was there in the beginning. It wasn't pretty.
Oh yeah,
Not pretty.
James is ready to talk about the beginning parts of the 3DS, right?
I'm not too fond of fighting games. And let's just say I had to buy Street Fighter with my 3DS. That's how bad the launch was.
Kind of sad, actually.
I mean, now they're unquestionably in some sort of golden age.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I mean, with games like Fire Emblem, like Luigi's Mansion,
Pokemon,
Zelda. In the past couple of months, I've played 4 or 5 amazing games on my 3DS.
It took a long time.
Well, I think the 3DS is fine in itself. It's getting better from here on, but I think the main issue would be the Wii U.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, pretty much. Definitely.
I mean, they cut it from 9 million to 2.8.
That's more
pretty significant.
Yeah.
That's a little more than 2/3. Now, my question is, I mean, did Nintendo really think they were going to sell 9 million Wii U's? Because, I know we've been joking that console's a disaster town since day one. But, did they really not realize that? Or
I think it was probably a combination of their own hubris from the Wii and maybe a whole miscommunication with the general gaming market kind of contributed to all this. James, as the only proud owner of a Wii U.
Also there since day one.
What do you have to say on this?
I think honestly, it's not as bad as people think it is, but it's not that good either.
I actually have total numbers for the Wii U.
I'm not talking about sales. I mean
The state of the console itself.
yes, yeah.
Well,
The sales are bad.
We'll get into the actual
actual hard numbers. At this point, it's estimated that they've sold about 5.9 million total Wii U's. That can't be right. No, that's by the end of the year.
Yeah.
By the end of March.
And
5.9 million. And around 30 million software sales. That's an attach rate of 5. So every person who owns a Wii U owns 5 games. How many games do you own, James?
right now, 3. But only because I'm poor. I want to buy games. I'm a poor college kid.
I actually also have the sales numbers for the expected sales numbers by the end of March for the 3DS, and that was a little more surprising to me personally. Total, they've sold almost 43 million, which is nothing to shake a stick at. I mean, it's not DS numbers, it's not Wii numbers, but it's
a big amount.
It's big. Also, this year the 3DS was the best-selling console. Period. Not handheld. Period. But what's surprising to me about these numbers is there's only been roughly 150 million software sales, which is an attach rate of just over 3.5. I kind of expect that to be a little higher. But, I mean, I guess when you have console numbers that high, you're going to have the couple casual people that just got Pokemon or just got Zelda.
I mean, like, I know a lot of people that said, like, hey, I'm only going to get the 3DS for Pokemon, and it makes sense. Or, like, you could just argue that they just got it over the holiday season, and they just don't have a game for it yet. Because this is including... When do these sales numbers basically end?
They're up to this fiscal year, which, like I said, I believe ends in March.
Right, so
or April, that time period.
Like, what you can argue that, like I said, it was probably like a rise in 3DS sales over the holiday break, especially with the release of like Pokemon and Zelda. So they probably.
I mean, those were two huge Nintendo franchises, coming out within what, a month and a half of each other, all right before the holiday season. That had to help a little bit.
So yeah, I'd argue that people just probably just got like the numbers probably just rose recently, and people just haven't bought the software yet.
So the question we're trying to get to is Nintendo in real trouble? I mean, yeah, they're no longer getting a net profit this year; they're getting a net loss. But are they in trouble? Do they still have time to turn it around? What's your opinion?
It's a slippery slope, but they could get off of it.
One thing we've learned from the 3DS is never count Nintendo out. They were able to turn like a pretty lame system with a bad launch to something with a lot of good games for it. I think, I'm just optimistic, but I think that they can actually pull it back a little bit with the Wii U.
Some more numbers to kind of prove that Nintendo's not in any immediate trouble. Nintendo is worth about $19 billion, and they have $11 billion in liquid cash. Now, I'm not a business analyst, or I know not a whole lot about that, but I don't think you want that much liquid cash. Shouldn't they be investing that in like R&D or like anything?
My dream projects.
Yeah. So, what's your guys' opinion on that?
What Nintendo should do with their money?
Yeah, I mean, $11 billion.
They should be forming new studios, making alliances with like partnerships with other studios,
with the money they got, I feel like they could possibly revive some dead franchises.
Because
by making new studios.
Yeah, exactly.
Like Star Fox.
You need they have very talented studios, and I know it's easier said than done because you can't just make a new studio because a studio can be bad. So I think they have to go headhunting.
Get talented people.
And get talented people and put new, fresh people in the industry.
Do you think they would benefit from having Western developers?
Yes.
Oh, definitely.
That's my
all right.
favorite
So I guess that's not a point that we should really discuss.
Well, in my opinion, one of their best, maybe if not the best, is a Western developer that they own.
Retro Studios.
Yep, I love them.
I would like to just say that I don't think Nintendo short term is in any trouble whatsoever. But long term, if they continue down their current path, they're gonna have some trouble. As you guys may or may not know, to respond to these sales forecasts, Nintendo recently had an investor meeting where they talked through like, yes, we messed up. Yes, we got a net loss, and which personally gave me a lot of respect for the company is Satoru Iwata, the president, actually took a pay cut because of this, which I think is absolutely amazing.
So do some other people too.
Yeah.
High up people.
I mean, if we had that over in America...
Don't bring it political.
Not making it political, that's all I'm going to say. But yeah, we'll talk more about that later. But the two things I wanted to touch on really quick for Nintendo's current state is first being the Wii U hardware. One of the major complaints about the Wii U is that it's significantly underpowered compared to the other next-gen consoles. Do you guys feel like that had any effect on its sales, or is it a marketing issue, or is it a games issue?
I think it's a combination of the two. Like
I said three things.
We'll touch on the marketing issue later, but I do agree that the fact that it is significantly more underpowered than the PS4 and the Xbone, that's going to be a turn off to some people.
I don't think James likes the Xbone.
And also, I feel like what the Wii U has to do at this point is prove why it needs to exist. The whole idea of the touchpad thing, I think it's great, but we need something that says we need the Wii U for this. Like, we can't make this on the PS4 or the PC or the DS or whatever.
I genuinely think they're ahead of the curve with the touchpad and the controller, but as you brought up, they're not giving us any reason to believe that they're ahead of the curve.
Like,
I mean, I don't know Wii U. I've only played James a little bit. I mean, James, in your experience, do they have any games that it's like, oh my god, this is only possible on Wii U?
Well, I told you, like, it wasn't the best game. It was all right. Zombie U had a really cool thing. It's a survival horror game. When you actually search through the crates, like when you search through like whatever, like your character is still like visible on screen, and you actually have to look down, like and look at the screen to pick up stuff from whatever you're getting from. So like that's kind of impossible. It's like the little.
But like Dead Space did that.
No, but it's different because like you have to actually look down at your controller.
But like Dead Space brought up the menu, and I'm just saying it is possible.
It's possible. It's maybe
not the same thing though.
Maybe not that way.
Because in a real survival circumstance, you wouldn't be paying attention around. You would look at the thing, so like anything can attack you. Like Dead Space, I love Dead Space, but I think it's a little different. And like I said, it's not like a big thing the Wii U has going for it, but I thought it was clever.
Yeah.
Like I thought it was a good use of the controller.
All right, just one last topic I wanted to bring up for the current state of Nintendo. It's the one thing everyone likes to poke fun at them for, and I think justly, their online infrastructure. Let's face it, they're a little late to the game on that. They're playing catch-up. Opinions?
Yes.
I actually have a question for you, James. Can you use the 3DS eShop cards on the Wii U? Because I know for a fact that on the Wii to 3DS, it is impossible.
I never used the shop cards. I just go and like use my credit card. I know that recently they combined the two, so I think you should be able to.
Well, it's good to know.
Because my balance is the same now.
My whole thing is I recently bought a 3DS. Got an XL. And to transfer my stuff over, because I buy a bunch of digital games, I don't see the point of carrying around cartridges for a handheld system. I want it all digital. And I couldn't just sign into my account on the new 3DS and like deauthorize my old 3DS. Like I had to actually do this complicated like transfer process.
But it was adorable.
It wasn't. No, it was unnecessary. For anyone who doesn't know, it's like this little Pikmin like carrying little blocks across the field.
And some of them trip, and you lose data.
I just facepalmed.
No, but I think that is bad that it happens. But they are working on it. They're trying to get rid of time to. They know it, but I just think they're very slow.
I mean, the biggest thing is for me is your account is tied to your console, not your games are tied to your console, not to your account.
Yeah. It's gonna change.
I mean, friend codes.
Friend codes are gone on the Wii U, which is thank God. But 3DS.
Oh, Fahim, we're not friends on 3DS. Do you remember your 12-digit friend code off the top of your head so I can put it in mine?
4132. I don't even know it. I'm not even.
I think there's 2 zeros in mine. So
I have a 1.
I don't know where they are.
I don't even know where to set it up.
I don't even like. Everyone's asking me for my friend code for Pokemon. I'm just like, leave me alone.
But actually, the thing is, Pokemon had a really good online system, but I think the only real problem with that is it was on the back of the terrible friend code system.
Mm-hmm.
Like Pokemon, I actually said gave me renewed faith in Nintendo's ability to do stuff online, but I think they have some serious architecture problems that I don't think any of us are saying they're easy to fix. Clearly, Microsoft and Sony went through the same problems just years ago, and that's why we think it should be fixed by now.
Well, as you're stating before, like Nintendo is kind of on the catch up for the old online train, but we just got to give them time. They are making improvements, as James.
There's one thing I want to bring up real quick. I read an article recently where developers were talking to Nintendo, asking about certain features of their online, and they kept referencing PSN and Xbox, like most people would, because those are the examples. And they were essentially told to stop doing that because the people at Nintendo have not even looked at those systems.
Right now, I bet those people are surrounded by Xboxes and PlayStation.
Like, my question is, do you think that's a good idea? I mean, you can't be creative in a vacuum. I know Nintendo wants to march to the beat of its own drummer and do their own thing, but
it's good to pay attention to your surroundings. Like, you can't just... Like, they've been doing it longer. Like, okay, sure, you could do what you want to do, but look at how they're doing it and see what you want to change. Cause...
I mean, if you look at, like, PlayStation Network and Xbox Live, they've clearly been inspired from one another. Like, Xbox Live had Party Chat. PSN now has Party Chat. PlayStation Plus gave away games for free. Now there's games for gold. Mm-hmm. Like, they clearly become better services by being aware of each other. And Nintendo wanting to completely isolate itself and do its own thing, while they can do some creative stuff, at the same time, they're lacking features that gamers expect.
One of those things that they created, which, like, I guess it's not really online, but, like, are you guys, like, I love street passes. Like, I think street passing is awesome. So when you're out and you out and about, you just find people. I remember when I first got my 3DS, like, in the very beginning, like, the first day I was walking around and I met someone. It's like I opened my 3DS, it was like, you just met Sex Bomb in, like, PetSmart. I was like, oh my god. and then I was like in PetSmart, I was like, yo, Sex Bomb, where you at? And unfortunately, no one answered. No one answered, but
this is why we can't
everyone just looked at you weirdly.
But
this is why we can't take you out in public.
But yeah, I think that was a cool original idea and one of the really good ones.
Yeah, it's an incentive to bring your 3DS
I'm not saying Nintendo
places.
doesn't have good ideas.
Yeah. Just like that's a perfect example of marching to the beat of their own drummer and being good at it.
But, like, you know, an example of looking at what other people are doing is games are tied to systems, not accounts.
Yeah.
All right, so I think we're out of time for this particular segment. We'll be back with another one, depending on when you're watching this, possibly soon.
Possibly never.